It's crispy, it's cheesy, it's McDonald's iconic Filet-O-Fish, but is it possible to replicate that signature sandwich with store-bought fillets? Stouffer's fish fillet frozen meal is a unique option for a Filet-O-Fish copycat since it's intended to be eaten as an entree rather than on a sandwich. Nevertheless, it's perfectly sandwich-sized. This is a real breaded pollock fillet, just like the one at McDonald's. The quality balances a mildly rich character with fast food saltiness. It's also the single largest fillet of every brand on this list, excelling in both width and thickness, making it our #1 overall selection. The only area where Stouffer's comes up short is the breading, which is soft and just barely crispy. Despite that, with the satisfying size and flavor, this is an unexpectedly excellent option for an at-home Filet-O-Fish, and the mac and cheese that comes with it is pretty solid too. Stouffer's may be the best of the best, but there are plenty of other tasty options for an at-home Filet-O-Fish. Gorton's fish sandwich breaded fillets are made of breaded pollock and square-shaped, just like the actual Filet-O-Fish, but their quality that most closely approximates the Filet-O-Fish is a satisfying crispiness, courtesy of a thicker-than-average breadcrumb coating.
Add a bun, and you're done.
Gorton's does fall a bit short with its size, though, which seems more suitable for a slider rather than a standard hamburger bun. In the flavor department, the fish is a little fattier and oilier than McDonald's, which results in a richer, fuller character. Whereas Mickey D's accentuates the tartar sauce and the American cheese that accompanies it, Gorton's masks those key flavor components. Van de Kamp's sandwich fillets are also made of pollock, but instead of intact fillets, this brand opts for minced fish. That's both a good thing and a bad thing. On the plus side, these patties are one of the largest options. They also do a solid job of approximating the mildness of the Filet-O-Fish. That mildness isn't necessarily due to the fish itself, but rather the fact that each patty is heavy on breading and light on pollock. While that extra breading makes them plenty crispy, each bite ends up containing significantly less fish than a typical Filet-O-Fish bite. The breaded fish squares from the Whole Foods 365 brand aren't quite as wide as Van de Kamp's fillets, though they are a little thicker, making for a satisfyingly solid size. This is another option made from pollock. Crucially, they're not excessively oily like Gorton's, instead providing a mild and rich flavor that accentuates their complementary ingredients. However, these fillets are almost a little too mild, which is perhaps an unintended consequence of their high standard of quality. The breading adds a solid crispiness, though it lacks a pronounced breadcrumb character that's apparent on some crispier options. There's no single category in which the 365 breaded fish squares win outright, but they generally excel across the board. SeaPak is another popular frozen seafood brand available at major grocery stores, though it doesn't offer any sort of pollock product. Its beer-battered cod may diverge somewhat from pollock in terms of flavor, but it nevertheless checks some key boxes for an at-home Filet-O-Fish. Compared to McDonald's pollock, SeaPak's cod is a little fattier and even a little fishier, making for an overall bolder experience. There's also a bit of a vinegary flavor. Where SeaPak's fillets truly excel is their size, as they're thick and square, making them well-suited for a sandwich. But be warned that they may come out a little cold, so you might want to keep them in the oven longer than what's recommended on the packaging. While they may not be an exact approximation of the Filet-O-Fish, anyone who prefers cod over pollock might just want to opt for SeaPak. As its name promises, Walmart's Great Value brand provides plenty of cost-conscious alternatives to popular products. Its crispy battered fish fillets are made from pollock, albeit in a slightly awkward size and shape for a sandwich, as they're sort of triangular. Nonetheless, two fillets pointing in opposite directions sit relatively nicely together on a standard burger bun. Because of that two-fillet requirement, this is a rather bready sandwich option, containing less fish overall than single fillet options. On the flip side, their smaller size leads to a nice crispy coating, despite the apparent thinness. Flavor-wise, these fillets don't taste like much, though they do a good job of accentuating cheese and tartar sauce.
Tartar sauce!
Ultimately, Great Value's fillets are a solid budget pick as they do their job adequately at a low price point, although that's somewhat negated if you use 2 fillets per sandwich. A subsidiary of the Pacific Seafood Company, Starfish is another brand that doesn't make a pollock product, though it does offer crispy battered cod that's in the same ballpark. It's similar to SeaPak's cod in that they both contain yellow corn flour in the batter, as opposed to the breadcrumb coating on many pollock fillets. Starfish stands out most notably in terms of size, requiring 2 fillets per sandwich, like Great Value. With that said, the quality is plenty high, as each fillet lacks even a trace of fishiness. Instead, they taste light and buttery, almost like lobster. So while Starfish isn't a perfect mimic for a Filet-O-Fish, it does its best to be an appealing alternative. Overall, it offers an elevated flavor while still providing pleasantly mild breaded fish.